Okay, good evening, Peter.
Hi, Sabine.
Thank you for sharing this. I'm really, thanks. It's really pleasure,
Thank you.
to talk to you, and that you said yes. Yeah, Peter Lawry and Kalyani, actually, they hold meetings. We already talked to Kalyani last time. You hold the meetings in Warrandyte and in Collingwood once a month. And I had a pleasure to record your meetings. And what I really noticed, I said it to Kalyani a bit last time, I actually noticed lots of silence and the stillness around your meetings, which kind of feels really good. So Peter, can you tell me, does the mind need to be quiet? Or, to recognize our true nature, does it get quiet? Or is it already as it is? Or do we have to silence the mind? Or can we monitor the mind? Can we modify or change the thinking? Or is there anything wrong with the thinking?
Lots of questions there, Sabine.
I know.
And listening to them,
yeah,
there's some assumptions behind them. That there is some entity that can actually do things, modify, change, correct, still.
Yeah.
And we encourage a figure ground reversal, flip the whole game, and start from emptiness itself. This presence, this wakefulness, call it what you like, it simply is. And as that, there's nothing wrong, nothing right. It's just simply this life. We're here, we're awake, we're present. What else is necessary?
Okay, you call it unborn Buddha mind. That's what I've heard you saying. Unborn mind, don't you have to be conscious to to think? Like, don't you, how is it unborn?
Well, the unborn Buddha mind, really, Bankei in the 17th century was the one who really made that his own. Even though the word has been around since the earliest times in Buddhism, Bankei made that his thing. And he called this unborn Buddha mind our birthright.
Yeah.
Something we have, something we are.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do anything to achieve it or get it or claim it. It simply is. And the fascinating thing about Bankei was he would simply point out to people what was just outside their awareness. Which they were registering automatically. So in the middle of a sermon, he would stop it and point out the temple bell, which everyone heard. And the knowing that meant that lunch was about to be served. Or he'd point out that without attempting to do anything, without any effort at all, automatically the people around you were registered, the sights, the sounds, the smells. Or if a bird called, there was a knowing that that's a sparrow or that's a lark. So Bankei was pointing to this extraordinary intelligence, this unborn Buddha mind, this marvelous mirror mind, which reflects, records, and then recalls spontaneously everything. And it's so intelligent, it's so marvelous. And when you ponder for a moment that it actually records and captures and saves everything that ever happens. What do you have to do? You are already that. Everything that ever happened is here. There's nothing any thought up story could actually do to fix this or control it or change it. Because that thought up story is simply something just coming up spontaneously from it.
Okay, so you don't have to basically, whatever is spontaneous, you don't have to put any effort in what you're gonna say. Like I've heard Balsekar saying there is a working mind and there is a useful mind or something rather. Yeah.
His distinctions were working mind and thinking mind, and it's a useful distinction. And what's he pointing to? That he's calling that natural intelligence, that spontaneous mirror mind. He's calling it the working mind.
Okay.
And the thinking mind, he's making the distinction as the thoughts that come up. Yet ultimately, they all come from the same emptiness, the same spaciousness.
I think I get you. Like even today, I was like at work and I had to learn something new, you know. And it's kind of there is this I call it ultimate laziness, even to learn or whatever, to use mind a lot. But it seems, you know, when it's needed, it's there to remember what needs to be remembered, you know. And I did not fail to remember what the lady was telling me, you know. She was teaching me new stuff, and you know, and it's there. It seems like, and sometimes I was okay. Will I remember? You know, the thought comes. Will I remember enough? But it seems that we remember enough that you know, whatever we need to remember, that we remember. You know.
Yes, and the simple fact is everything is remembered. Whether we're aware of that or not. You know, like in a crime scene, some police departments bring in hypnotists who hypnotizes witnesses. They can't remember the car registration number, but in an altered state, it is evoked and recalled. Everything is remembered. Whether we access it or not is another question.
So when you say, you just said hypnotized and all of that, and it seems that we've been hypnotized really to believe that we are something else, and to believe that we have to do something, you know, and think in a certain way, or you know, you shouldn't be doing that, and we think there's something wrong, like there is a guilt about, you know, certain, you know, events and certain way of thinking, or even expressing emotions. It seems to be, you know, because our parents probably were telling us it's not good to be upset, it's not good to be sad, you know, you shouldn't be crying. Do you think it's okay, it's unhealthy to have emotions and feelings? Do we have feelings and emotions once we know who we are? Like,
of course, why would anything change? And you know, this birthright, this unborn Buddha mind that we are, and it's simply through imitating, through habits, through copying people, that we learn all sorts of limited ways of being. And it's fascinating. You mentioned, you know, like hypnotism. It's a wonderful metaphor for all this, because one definition of trance is a limited focus of attention. And so when people get in trance, they just become fixated, they're focused, and they exclude everything else. So in a sense, what we're talking about here is a dehypnotizing, opening up and being available to a wider spaciousness. And when we focus on a particular way of thinking, or contract around a particular energy, it's a limited attention. We become entranced with things. And you know, there's so many shoulds, isn't there? You know, we should be this, we should be that, we shouldn't be this, we shouldn't be that. I think it's fascinating that Nisargadatta named himself. He gave himself that name. And Nisarga means natural. So he actually named himself the natural way. It's a great hint in the name itself. Just living spontaneously. Yeah? Emotions arise, thoughts arise, feelings arise. Of course, why not? It's about becoming more human, not less. Being more available to the spectrum of experience. In fact, it's interesting because there's so many misunderstandings. People think that waking up is to become detached or cut off or being above it all. It's actually the opposite, to be more connected, more engaged, more empathetic, more tuned in. So you feel more, you open up more.
Yeah.
You're more sensitive to others.
Yes.
More at one with.
Yeah.
Seeing everyone and everything as you.
Yeah.
How could you be cut off or separate from that? That would be silly.
Mm. Mm.
And where is the reference point that's cutting off? Having a point of view, not that, not that. Yeah, madness.
Yeah. 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 That's interesting. That we all think we all live from that point of view seemingly, and it's always it's all about me. It's amazing even to say I understood this. This is my understanding.
Mm.
Yeah, and Nisargadatta said something about that. As long as you think it's your understanding, then it's not. It's not that. So yeah,
exactly. So this habit of ownership is the only dilemma, really. This false sense of ownership. My thought, my breath, my car, my leg.
Yeah.
They're just breaths, thoughts, cars, legs.
Yeah. So when it all falls off, it's what arises, like basically belief that it should be this way or should be that way. That's because Nisargadatta said something. He said when he came to recognition of his true nature, he said nothing is wrong anymore. He didn't say anything is wrong. Everything in its place. So whatever arises, basically, it's like, should we accept it? Is there like just natural acceptance of what is?
Well, what we're talking about is familiar to everyone. We all taste this.
Yeah.
We all have a sense of this.
Yeah.
Just as simple as a really good conversation. When you're just heart to heart, when you're so connected, there's a natural flow. There's no you, there's no me, there's no positioning. Should I say this or not say that? There's simply just a spontaneous flowing.
Yeah.
We're actually always present to this. And the thought up me story is something which simply appears and disappears.
Yeah.
And we have the habit of fixating there and thinking it's continuous. It's not. A me is something that arises. And what's always here is this awareness, this wakefulness, this seeing, this experiencing. Nothing, no big deal here.
Yeah. I actually watched one of your videos where you were saying, you said there's nothing separate, there's only wholeness. And everything is whole and complete, and
And look, it's not just the mystics. Quantum physicists say the same thing.
Yeah.
David Bohm said in the 70s, he called it unbroken wholeness.
Yes. No, that's
or another image was seamless sameness. There is no. All these separations get very slippery when they don't stand up to examination. When you think about it, what's a system? You'd simply draw a circle around and say this is the boundaries, and they're not. They're just a mental construction. They're not real, because everything is unbounded. Or even if you take that very simple medieval typology of earth, fire, air, water, as the basic elements. And when you start to examine, they bleed into another. You take water, and there's water, and it's in let's say for example a lake.
Yeah.
Then there's the bottom of the lake, and there's the water, there's the earth. But when you look at it, the water seeps down through the earth, so it's not clear where one begins and one ends. And the earth the particles of the dirt go up into the water. And the water, there's air in the water, and there's water in the air, and there's air in the fire, and fire in the air. It just, when you start to look, this separation, which everyone takes for granted, it falls away. And you see unbroken wholeness. The boundaries are not really obvious. Well, something is, something we take for granted is the boundary of our seeing. We do this, see the hands, don't see the hands, but no one can nail precisely the point where the edge of seeing is. There's simply seeing, not seeing. That boundary is really, you can't nail it easily.
Okay, as if we are trying to give a reference point to that seeing, as it's seen from somewhere. So you're saying there is a seeing.
There's seeing is happening, yet the location, it's always an interesting question, where are we locating from?
Yes.
And it's assumed that, of course it's in the body, but is it really?
Yeah.
When you really have a look, it's not so obvious. And it's an all too common experience to actually see your body like you see another object. And you only have to have that happen to you once, and that certainty is shaken, is loosened.
Yes. So you would say investigate and see for yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's like, it's relatively easy to sort of pick up the grab bag of concepts around this stuff. And you can learn them off, and you can do call and response, cut and paste, and bring up a slogan or a one-liner. But to actually do your own homework is the key here. And one important line of investigation is to actually look for this assumed separate entity. Look for this reference point, this me. And we often encourage people to, if they look internally, people tend to look along the chakra system. Is it in the heart? Is it in the head? Is it in the belly? They're the most common ones.
Yes.
And when one looks there and looking for a sensation, a sense of a contraction or a feeling or a visual image, something may happen. It doesn't stand up to investigation. That if you really look with vigor, with some focus, it disappears. And that's one point here, is that to do this investigation is to have some rigor to it. Because typically what happens when you invite someone to investigate, they start to investigate, and then a thought comes up. They jump on board with the thought, then have an opinion about what they've just done, or how, that didn't work, or, I know that already. And all they've done is reconfirmed their mental understanding. And in fact, upsets, dilemmas, hurts, dramas, they are wonderful windows. They're windows into this emptiness. The simple question, where is this me that is upset? Where is this me that is holding this point of view that's hurt? Or where is the hurt, the pain, the contraction, where is it actually located? And when you really investigate that thoroughly, dissolution happens.
And it just reminded me when you said investigate, and when you asked where is it located, and it seemed to me at the time that I could locate it around my heart, but then after a while it dropped around the belly button, like solar plexus, and after that I couldn't locate it anyway. It was like, and I realized I was just experience or something. I don't know, or energetic something. I don't know, but it had no reality, obviously.
Yes, and these things, these things that are just out of awareness, we give them life by the focus of our attention. And when we invest in them, we recreate them.
Yes.
There's a beautiful analogy from Bankei when he talks about this extraordinary mirror mind that spontaneously records everything that happens. And then throws up traces. The fabulous word, traces.
Traces.
Not the actual thoughts, not the thoughts or the memories, simply just traces. Yeah. And they just simply appear and disappear. So there's a whole lot of spontaneous multisensory records that are constantly being stored. And then something happens in the environment, a scene or a word or a feeling or an interaction spontaneously evokes a trace of some previous experience.
Yeah.
And left alone, they just come and go. It's when we jump on board and focus on them and give them life that they turn into thoughts and into feelings and recreate themselves. And we're back there living in that story again.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple of things here. One, the extraordinary power of this luminous intelligence. It literally creates everything. We create our world with our thoughts. And so taking it seriously, this power of this intelligence, why focus on all just threads, traces? Left alone, they'll just disappear. Left alone, they come and they go. No big deal. But why make them alive again? How absurd. What a waste of this precious light.
Yes. Yeah.
And if we actually focus it and turn it in to actually look for this me, and it is such a searchlight, it's such a self-shining luminescence, it dissolves everything. Nothing stands up to it. The contractions, the hurts, the pains, the upsets, when we really focus on them, the solution happens.
But it seems to me somehow that, most of us go into the mind direction, and we tend to memorize what we've heard. Again, it's a mind trick, obviously, and people fail to investigate, I'd say. They'd rather go mind or how not to go there, how to stop. I don't know, is there any solution for that? That, to recognize that one went, mind direction rather than, as most of us are fearing from seeing nothing or, but I remember when the thought came, oh God, I know nothing. From somewhere came to me, I know nothing. That was like a really powerful, more than any knowledge that I've had, So would you say it's a void? What's in that nothingness? It seems so rich, don't you?
Nothing is no thing. It's nothing is everything. It's so wonderful. I know nothing. It's the beginning of real wisdom.
Yeah. So know nothing.
Yeah. And look, one hint in all this is just being really gentle. Because we all know that everything passes. That we lose the plot, we get caught up, and then eventually there's a recognition again. I got caught up in something. And again, just being gentle then. There you go. That's okay. Rather than beating ourselves up with another should of what we should or shouldn't have done. It's just it's a natural phenomenon, this getting caught up in a story, then seeing through it, and then simply just, there you go, caught up, that's okay. Those old habits for a moment. Yeah. Without giving them any energy, they fall away.
Okay. I was actually going to ask you that. You just answered that, like what to do if the thoughts drag us. Do we go, do we resist it, or what do we do? Or do we say, what do we do? And you just said.
Again, but it's also, there's no formula. There's no, one move. And this mind machine is always looking for the technique, the method, And there's no special way of waking up.
No.
And it's quite amusing. If someone wakes up a certain way, they often then become an evangelist for that particular technical method, or and so people attempt to replicate what happened. It's silly. It's like this seeing through is a natural thing. We all taste it, and there's no one method. One hint is to simply, there you go. Let the traces be. Let them disappear. That's not appropriate for every moment.
So there is no prescription.
There's no prescription. Again, the nearest is to actually, whether you call it intuition or feeling or a hint or an urge, our being, our deep self, the wakefulness is always communicating. And just listening, and we always get information what to do.
Just listen to that information. So it comes back to that spontaneous.
And it's always somewhat amusing if you actually just notice someone talking about their dilemma. And they're often very, very articulate and very clear as they lay out the map of how they're trapped and how they're caught and how it happens and the pattern that keeps on repeated. And it's like, and I often ask people, well, where are you looking at that from? Because the intelligence itself is speaking. It clearly can see the whole drama. So just resting is that wakefulness and seeing the story appearing and the apparent getting caught and the relaxing again. Oh, there you go.
It's like almost this being in consciousness, in awareness, and whatever is happening is just the content of it. And whatever happens spontaneously, and even that watching of the body moving, it's also spontaneous. If you don't get involved, you can't. The struggle is not as severe, and it's so more soothing and more subtle. I'd say even the pain. Sometimes we go, there is a pain in the body, and then you feed it with the mind. Oh, I'm sufferer of such a condition, and you make it double as bad. So when there is a pain arises naturally, and
and pain is often saying, have a look. Something is not right here. Something needs attention. And Sailor Bob coined a beautiful expression, intelligence energy. And putting those two words together, I think, is so succinct. Because this intelligence, this energy, it's intelligent. It's not stupid, or it's not making a mistake. And it's self-organizing. And it's only here that anything happens. And here is always here. And whether we're looking at this internal world or this external world, the whole matrix, the whole interplay is exquisite. And it's not a mistake or an accident. And everything we need is always arising. It's always available. And there's hints and insights and pointers all around us. Whether it's a small child or a sign on the wall or a feeling in the belly, we're always getting everything we need. Just open up to it. It's nowhere else except presently arising.
You said in one of your talks, you said, oh, how do I get there? And like how long? You said wrong questions.
Absolutely.
Because it's not
separate. Jiddu Krishnamurti says, truth is a pathless land. It's simply here. There's no path to here. Maya Baba used to say, how do you get from here to here? It's here.
It's here. And this moment, this immediacy is so full. It's so rich, and it's so you know, and that focus, there is a focus. When you said focus, it's really like total focus. It's amazing, you know, like, yeah. It's like someone says, I've heard like as if there is a snake in the room, and yeah, that's kind of good example. You know, if there's a snake in the room, and there is a focus there because you know you can't move. You don't like it's totally. It's very similar to that, isn't it?
Absolutely. The natural intelligence would all be on the other side of the room instantly.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be any thought or questions about it, but just action.
Yeah.
Yeah. The body would just propel us.
Yeah.
To safety, wherever that was. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Naturally to the safety.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've heard, you know, people ask questions like, how do I function like that? I can't live like that. I have to feed my family. I have to look after my family. So they believe, you know, they won't be able to function any longer and live like normal life. That's what, you already live like that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's like this reference point is seen as some sort of controller that's keeping it all nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And keeping us all contained and organized. It's a fantasy. It's giving power to a thought.
Yeah.
And this me is just another thought arising.
And Nisargadatta says just that notion of dualship is a bondage. That's you know the problem, seeming problem, but there's nothing wrong anyway. So yeah. So basically, there is nothing to get. There is no way to go. The answer is not in the shopping basket, or, you know, or whatever. Everything comes naturally. Not that we won't be able to function because it's all that is functioning, but we've been run on that life essence. We've been moved.
And if people are moved to look at this, they look at this.
Yeah.
Yet it's not essential. The intelligence that we are functions exquisitely.
Yeah.
And whether we're apparently awakened or not makes no difference.
Yeah. It seems to me, Peter, I don't know if you've noticed also, like for instance, if I worked in the office and depending where I am, and if I go to some creative to painting class or people dancing or acting, the people that create, they seem to be more in tune with their true nature rather than people in the offices where occasionally I come across someone who is creative in the office as well, but it seems that it's more natural. Wouldn't you think it's...
I find humans are exquisite. We really take the time to just connect with it. Yeah, everyone's extraordinary in some way or another. Right?
Yes, unique. Yeah. Where does that uniqueness come from? Like, we all seem unique. Like, how come we are all so unique? We are like one and from the same source, but we are all very unique at the same time.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's like every iris is unique. Every fingerprint is unique. And that only 10% of the cells are human, 90% are bacteria. And of that 90% of bacteria, there's a percentage they're discovering which are unique to each person. So it's extraordinary. Every snowflake is unique. And then every moment is unique. Everything is arising spontaneously. Nothing is ever repeated. When you start to just look, it's like, wow, this precious moment, this precious unfolding, this precious human being. It's like people are just so exquisite. And it's like the ordinary is truly extraordinary. And if you just there's a wonderful hypnotherapist called Milton Erickson who said, "I've never met an unconscious yet I didn't like."
Oh, that is great. Yeah.
It's just when you just take the time to really just open up to someone, it's amazing what's there. And of course, in that sort of reflective sense, that what you see is a reflection of yourself. And this world around us is such a beautiful mirror. Whenever you meet someone you have a reaction to, how fascinating. What unowned aspect of self is here? And so it's like, whenever you meet someone that you have a reaction to, beautiful. Because what we're in the face of is an aspect of self which we've denied. We've repressed, denied, and projected out, then reacted to it when we see it in someone else. So as a useful hint, we encourage that if you ever meet someone you have a reaction to, how beautiful. What's here? What is the learning here? What is the possibility? This person is so different to me. What can I learn here? What is the gift? What is the gift being offered here?
I really like that.
In fact, when we do deeper work with people in the sort of mentoring conversations, there's an important phase where you have to start to look at your own darkness. And it's there in our unowned aspects of self that we find the keys to hidden doors. And of course that just seems so counterintuitive, because people don't want to look in the tacky dark places, yet they're often the most illuminating places, paradoxically.
I see what you say. It's really true. Like, when I thought like the events were really, bad events, I call them bad events, turned out they were learning. I call them like learning.
Absolutely.
Life teaching me, pointing for something new. And they open the door to, closes that door for another one to open in this moment, fresh and new moment to open. But most think, this moment is the worst, oh my God, I'm in the worst situation. Then they even laugh about it, later on when you get over that, then you even laugh, how silly I was, I used all that energy.
And Sabine, you're so right, because life makes sense in hindsight. Like this self-organising wonder, it's a mystery. Yet, and apparently horrible things are happening. What's going on? It's only afterwards, when looking back, that you see how perfect. This learning that arose would not have happened without that. I went to India when I was 20, and I turned 21 on the beaches of Goa, and I walked barefoot from Goa to Madras. It took a few months. And it was such an extraordinary journey. And by the time I got to Madras, I was really sick, and I ended up, I had a variety of things, including hepatitis and elephantitis, and I spent 3 months. I spent 3 months on my back. Just 21 years old. Like they said, look, you have to lie on your back for 3 months, and it was just, it was the most painful, beautiful time I've ever had in my life. Because at that stage of my life, I solved my problems by moving. I was always talking about where I'd just been and where I'm about to go, yesterday, tomorrow, and storyteller. Then suddenly I was like, I couldn't go anywhere. I just lay for 3 months in the hot season in Madras. Fabulous. And looking back, it was such a foundational experience. Movement was stopped. Just stay here with your mind.
So basically you relax in whatever comes and relax into that which comes.
Or not.
Or not. Whatever arises.
Well, you may as well. It only hurts when we resist.
That hurts most. I see people, now it's looking externally for the sake of conversation. And, it's always the same. And because I remember myself, I was there once and, I'm going to lose my job, and I won't be able to do this. And there's a whole story what's going to happen. And where are they sitting? They still have their jobs and it's a beautiful job. And now I tend to tell them, look, you've got a great job. And yeah, but what if, you don't know when it comes, you're going to, it's going to resolve itself. And even if it comes, it's for something else to come into your life. Maybe you might change and try something completely different you never tried in your life before. And because life is so rich, and why not, try everything, all these. Yeah, it's if it was just a good only, it would be boring in a way. I don't know. You wouldn't know anything else. Yeah, it's so rich. And when you said before, of course there are feelings, there are emotions. Why not? It's beautiful.
Why not?
Why not? Yeah, as it comes. Bit of a wind and bit of rain, that's fine. The nature doesn't have, sun shining non-stop. Like it is self-shining, but, it projects some rain and whatever. There's snow and there is a beautiful smell of a snow and something about autumn or winter, the seasons.
We work a lot in Sweden, and there they have a saying in Sweden: there's no such thing as bad weather, just wrong clothing. And they're amazing. They're just, they'll go jogging in the winter.
Yeah.
And I remember one year we were running a workshop in midwinter, and I was looking out the window during a break, and there was a preschool, a kindergarten, just in the next building, and it was probably -5, -2 or something, and there's snow on the ground, and this is midwinter, so it's there's seemingly only sunrise at 10, sunset at 3 in the afternoon. It's not quite that bad. It seems like that, and these children were out playing in the snow, and they had fluoro sort of coveralls on, so they couldn't get lost. And I thought, God, in Australia, if a kindergarten went and sent the children out in -5, go out and play, there'd be uproars, but no such thing as bad weather, just wrong clothing. The kids were just properly dressed, all warm, and off they went to play, enjoying themselves in the snow.
There's nothing as beautiful when the lake freezes and you go play like you become a child. It's like this a little bit. Children in adult shell or whatever. We are all children in a way.
Yeah.
Playful. This is so playful, isn't it?
And of course, every stage of our life is contained within us. We just, as we grow older, there's a habit of cutting off from that, yet reaccessing the child inside is beautiful. Because everything is here.
It often reminds me, when I was a child, I didn't think what's going to happen following day. Or I always felt secure. Someone was looking after me. Same way as we thought as a little child, my parents are going to look after me, make sure I'm warm, I'm fed, I'm hungry, I'm going to ask them for food. It's like now it's just that intelligence. It's your mother, it's your father, it's your
And it's there's a saying that if children learn to walk like adults learn things, they'd never walk. Because a child just gets up and falls down,
Yes.
Whereas if it learned like an adult, oh God, made a fool of myself, won't do that again. Oh, that looks a bit silly. It's like I remember once a woman telling me that she went to learn a bicycle, she got on it and fell off, so she didn't touch it for years. Now that's an adult learning to ride. A child just falls off and gets up, falls off, gets up, and riding when you're up more than falling off.
Yeah. And you know, when we, that's a good point. And we learn how to ride bicycle, and then we think someone is holding us. The second we realize someone will let us go, we fall off the bike.
Yeah.
That's similar like this, but like sense of doership, you know. we all believe it, you know. Oh yeah, I was doing all this stuff all the time, you know. Now if I stop doing that, it's gonna what's gonna happen? All the hell is gonna go.
I remember a number of years ago, I was running a workshop. It was such a fabulous example of doership. As I noticed at the back of the room, the people were getting up and going and fiddling with the heating cooling system.
Yeah.
And this went on all through the day.
Yeah.
Someone would move it one way, and then some moments later, someone would move it the other way. And I decided not to give it any attention. Just, they're doing that, that's okay. And at the end of the day, after the group had all left, I was talking to the owner of the building, and I mentioned this about people were fiddling with the controls of the heating cooling system, and he burst out laughing. And he explained that he had recently had a new computer-controlled, centrally organised, centrally maintained heating cooling system which regulated the whole building. And it was really state-of-the-art. And he left the old slider on the wall because he didn't want to have to repaint the wall, so he just disconnected it, but left it there. And so these people were caught up in this play all day. Someone would move it up hot because they were too cold. Then after a while, someone would be annoyed because it was too hot, and they'd get up and they'd move it down cold. And then someone else would react to that. And so these people were all doing stuff, doing it to each other, reacting with each other all day. And of course, they were doing nothing. What they did had no impact whatsoever. The room was spontaneously being warmer or cooler according to the central system.
That is exactly what we're doing. Yeah,
we're just playing on the slider, moving it up and down.
Yeah.
Like children in a playground, on a toy car,
Exactly.
Going somewhere. We're nearly there.
You said before there is nothing wrong if people don't look into that, that's okay. Not everyone looks into this stuff. But some people seem to live more naturally. They don't get probably more, they don't resist as much. Like this pattern used to resist. But it's kind of, I'm grateful. See, if I didn't resist, I wouldn't have looked into this. Which is kind of, I'm grateful for. And then last week I had conference with my work for 2 days, and they played Steve Jobs for us. And it was amazing what he said, He said, I had to be hit by a brick a few times to be where I am. And I'm grateful that I got hit by, at the time it was very painful when the whole company was taken up that he built, it was taken up from him by the board. And he said, if I wasn't there, I wouldn't have known what I know now, like this openness. And I know he looked into this, apparently he looked into Ram Dass, and he went to India and all of that. And there was certain openness there. He was always open for everything. That's what he said. Unlimited. He said unlimited potential, unlimited mind. That's what he called it. So, it's amazing. Yeah. So there is nothing wrong with seeming suffering, but it seems that lots of people had to struggle to look into that, and rather than if you had ordinary life, or you wouldn't even know about this, and that's okay. That's how it is.
I remember years ago, I'm talking about decades ago, when I was doing sort of clinical supervision and therapy.
Yeah.
And at one point, I worked in a drug rehabilitation place.
Yeah.
And I used to sort of sit outside the methadone clinic and talk to
Yeah.
and just hanging out with the junkies. And because this was sort of like an overlooked area. Nobody was really just giving them any care.
Mm.
So I had space. So I thought I just started to just sit there every day and just talk with people. And of course, it was fascinating. And I realized that these people, these junkies strung out, were just like you and I, just a bit more extreme.
Yeah.
In the sense that everybody knows what to do, or at least enough of a couple of steps to get moving in the direction. Mm. But that involves some challenges or some pain, or can be quite threatening. So instead of that, we go off into sort of seeking comfort and pleasure, and we keep on doing that until that becomes so painful that almost the scales tip, and then we sort of get hit by a brick and go, oh, actually, I'll get on and I'll start doing this. And that sort of pattern seems to happen in human life. And everyone, if you really go deep with any human being, everyone's got a sense of what to do next or what they should be doing now. Mm. And often we simply avoid that voice and follow some sort of self-seeking, some sort of comfort food version of life. Mm. And we keep doing that until the consequences of that are worse than doing what we're being hinted at or called for.
Yeah.
And God, it seemed, that came to me just hanging out with these people. It just seems to be like that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's quite dramatic, like Steve Jobs talking about being hit by a brick.
Mm.
And I know when I look at my own life, the dramas, the horrible things that happen, the pain, the suffering, the illnesses, the rejections, the hurts are the things that actually just changed direction.
Yeah.
And again, self-organising intelligence.
Yeah.
Setting up situations, learning.
Yeah.
Integrating, reconnecting.
Yeah. Yeah, some of us seem kind of almost more sensitive to all of that, like a blueprint. Is it a blueprint or whatever in our genes or something? As we are more sensitive, even with recognition. Sometimes you just sense if people around you are a bit, that even the feelings, like if they're depressed, if they're a bit anxious, and it just it's sensitive to it in a way. Yeah, and I remember someone said that U.G. Krishnamurti felt also when people around him sensed if they were in pain, he would even have scars like on his body. Yeah,
he was an amazing person.
Yeah, what did you get? What is the best you got from him? You went to see UG. Yeah.
Look, it's he did such a thorough and gentle demolition job.
Yeah.
Just
demolition job. I like that.
Just pointing out, just pointing out the stupidities in the thinking. And I remember we were very fortunate, Kalyani and I, and we took our kids with us. We just spent just a few days with him. And I remember at the end of the first day, I was in the space. I thought, there's nothing. I might as well leave.
Yeah.
Then, there's no point in leaving. Might as well stay.
Yeah.
And so even leaving his presence was almost impossible. Wow. But, there's so many stories about him. We experience him as so gentle, so loving.
Yeah.
And he was so delicate. He was like a cat. Just beautiful, beautiful human. Sharp as anything.
Sharp.
But sharp and soft,
Yes.
And so he just, I remember him saying, look, just get on with it. Just enjoy life. Go and make money and enjoy life. Everyone gets enlightened, even if it happens the moment before you die. Don't worry about it. Now, one thing I learned very quickly with Eugene, nothing he says means anything. Who says whether that's literally true or not? he was just being provocative, like, let go of it all. Yeah. And so the search ended.
Yeah.
We simply did that. We just went and we had kids, we had a family, we made money, we had to work. We just did what was in front of us. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Nothing was ever wrong.
No. But he was a very beautiful man.
Yeah.
Very soft, very subtle.
Yeah. I can feel it from him. And, you know, at the time, I didn't get it. They called him anti-guru or something, but now I know. Now I know, because if the second someone build himself up as I am a guru and I've got a students, whatever, disciples, there's a sense of separation, isn't it? It's not. Yeah. And
yes,
he
didn't want anything or need anything. Yeah, we took him some fruit. Yeah, because I'd been in Asia for years. I know the game, so we took some fruit to the guru, and he just said, "No, don't eat that."
Yeah.
No, thanks, I don't want that. And we were so, but it was just, he wasn't being rude. It's like he was just being straight with us. You know? He said, and at the time he said, I only eat angel hair noodles and cream. That's what he lived on. But you know, you're quite right. This the codependent relationship between the guru and the disciple. You know, and each one creates the other, and both keep, and they keep each other in bondage. You know?
What a freedom when you see there's that you're seeking for, like someone can point to you.
Yeah. Look, I remember years ago, one of the greatest teachers I've ever been around was an old Aboriginal elder.
Okay.
And a friend of mine, he dropped out of the business world and started to connect with this old man up near Broome in Western Australia, on the northwest of Australia.
Yeah.
And he started to contact me saying, "Oh, Peter, you must come. You must meet this man. He's extraordinary."
Yeah.
So, yeah. Then I started to have these dreams. And in the dream, 3 old men would appear, 3 old Aboriginal men. Yeah. And they'd say, "Are you coming?" And then they'd burst out laughing. You know?
Yeah.
So finally I thought, got to do this.
Yeah.
And at the time I was really into metaphors. So I thought, this would be fabulous. Australian leadership, Aboriginal spirituality. So a couple of the people who were working with me and we flew over to Perth, connected with my old friend, and we drove from Perth to Broome, which is several thousand kilometres, in a 4-wheel drive, in this big urgent mission to get to the master. Yeah. And we arrived there, and as soon as I walked in, bang, he was one of the 3 people in my dreams.
Wow.
And I went, "Oh, what's going on here?" You know. And then we had to go to this football match for some mysterious reason, so we were just like followed along. We get to this football match, and it was the grand final, and the old man, his grandson was playing in the football match. That's why he wanted to go.
Yeah.
And then this other man wandered up, and I go, bang. Yeah. It's the second person in my dreams. And they both looked at me and they said, "What do you want?" And I sort of mumbled something, and then they said, "Come on, cut the bullshit. What do you want?" Sort of thing. They were really direct.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know what to say. So I said, "I want to learn how to fly."
Yeah.
And they said, "The country will teach you that." Anyway, we went back to the old man's house later. Now, what he'd been doing, he and some of the Aboriginal community there, they've been walking people along the song lines, just to wear you down. So you just walk and walk and walk, as they take you along the song line and open you up into it. So we'd heard about this from our friend, so we had boots and everything. We were ready to walk.
Yeah.
Anyway, we were sitting on the ground with the old man, and he looked at us, he looked at our boots, and he said, "These fellas need to sit." I thought, "You bastard, you've got me." Because, we could walk, but to sit. So we were just taken out to this place. And we just sat there.
Yeah.
For several weeks. We just sat in the one spot.
Wow.
And a couple, his grandson and a couple of the men were with us. And he would come every day.
Yeah.
Because he was very old. And he'd come out every day and he would sit with each of us.
Yeah.
And talk. And, you know, it was just amazing.
Mm.
And like, and I has, you know, it's like, it's not much I can talk about this, but just one thing is, I'd done years of Jungian analysis. I knew about analyzing and understanding dreams, but he was doing like reverse dreaming. So he would sit with me and he would tell me what was going to happen in the night, and he would give me instructions.
Yeah.
And the next day when he'd see me, I'd have to report back what happened. And then after about 2 nights of this, he said, okay, from now on, you can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
And then he was just taking me. It was just, and I just realized what primitives we are, you know. Yeah. This sort of modern Western human beings, we know nothing.
You know nothing. You just reminded me of Carlos Castaneda and his books.
Yeah. Exactly. And like we would sit on the ground.
Yeah.
And this old man would go, oh, he would just reach over and say, oh, see this? And he'd pull up a fruit. He'd say, this is for fertility, this one. And then he'd say, oh, see this? And he'd grab something else. And then he'd whip up a pair of sandals from it. So this, we use this to make our sneakers. Mm. And then so just within sort of, with hardly even moving, he was just showing us what was around us. Wow. And so this, you know, I'm just seeing this bush, and suddenly it's coming alive, as you know. Yeah. And I realized, like, I'm this sort of European, you know, sitting in a supermarket and not having a clue. You know, because I'm in the middle of a supermarket. There's food, there's clothing, there's medicines, and they're all just there. Haven't got a clue.
No clue.
And he would say to me, you know, how long have you been in this country? You know, your people.
Yeah.
And I'd proudly say, 3 generations, 4 generations. He'd say, tourists.
Tourists.
But he was like you did, because he didn't give a toss.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't care.
Yeah.
He had no agenda. Mm. He didn't care whether I got it or not. Or you know, and I remember saying, why are you opening this up? Why are you showing me this stuff?
Yeah.
And he was basically said that he was wanting. He said in his language, white people he called top law, and modern Aboriginal people they called middle law, and he was into bottom law, and the Aboriginal people weren't interested.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old ways. Yes. So he was bringing whiteys, bringing people down. Whoever was open to it, he would just bring them down into it. Okay. And then suddenly, you know, the young kids are saying, oh, look, these whiteys are sitting with the old man. Maybe this is interesting. So that was his explanation, but who knows? Yeah. But I learned so much from him. It's just, you know, and like you said at the beginning, I knew nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
The more he showed, the less I knew. The realize I just knew nothing. You know?
Yeah.
And having spent years in Asia with some of the most wonderful gurus and teachers and Sufi masters and Zen teachers, this old man was more extraordinary than anyone.
Yeah.
And to look at him, he was just ordinary. In fact, he came every day for 2 weeks, and he wore the same clothes every day. Yeah. And they were getting dirtier and dirtier. He didn't care. He didn't give a toss. He didn't want to impress us, whether we got it or not or learn it. He didn't care. He was just we're in front of him, so he's just working with us. I've never forgotten it, and I'm still integrating the learning, the insights he showed me.
Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't realize how much they were connected with the nature. Like 1 year they took us around Yarra River here in Melbourne. They used to be all Aboriginal, you know, and they knew, they were telling us all how they lived and and the names of suburbs and streets. They all they were telling us what it meant in Aboriginal. And then they showed us how they had the tracks, how they walk. They would walk behind each other, not to step on insects, not to kill something. They would have like little bells ringing, not to step on something. And every herb, they knew what it was. Apparently, the herbs were more powerful than any medication. They apparently treat us with, the doctors. They knew every herb, what it meant, and they were very, very in tune with the nature. And not trying not to harm anything, even insects. That's how they were. Yes, it's just a beautiful people.
Oh, this country, until we actually come to terms with and build relationship with the first people of this country, we will never truly become a real nation.
Exactly.
And the thing is, there was, I think last year, the message from the heart, the Uluru Statement, is a profound invitation. And we talk about becoming a republic in this country. That's a real republic where we connect with the first people of this land, with the Aboriginal people.
Absolutely.
And then there's a deep integration because they are so generous, so forgiving. It's extraordinary.
Beautiful people. Okay, Peter. Okay, we might come to the end of this. I don't want to keep you too late. I kept you.
No.
And thank you so much.
Thank you.
To talk to you, and that you said yes, and so to share the message from Australia to the world.
Thank you so much. It's wonderful what you're doing, Sabine. It's fabulous.
No, it's wonderful what you do. I can't wait for your next meeting and next couple of meetings next month. So I will catch you there, and and you have a good night. And
bye.
Bye.